And the river still shines and shimmers in the light as it did in our grandfather's day, when they rode all night to fish in the morning and lived in Willapa Bay.
All right, our next performer started salmon trolling out of Sitka, Alaska when she was 7 years old. Still a salmon troller 39 years later, out of Bow, Washington, and she truly needs no introduction, Tele Aadsen.
Hi, friends. Thanks for being here. So my piece, I've got one for you tonight, and it's going to take up pretty much all my time, Dan, but I timed it. So we're just going to jump right in. Some of you might have heard my partner Joel and I do this as a story together about 4 or 5 years back. Then, thanks to that experience, I wrote it up. This is called Ryan's Tuna. Midway through our 2015 salmon season, August 11th, Joel's 33rd birthday. He shares a birthday with a Sitka friend, Ryan Kaufman, 5 years older. By chance, we're in town today. I text Ryan, "Happy birthday. Can we come over to drop something off?" "Yes, come over." When we knock on the door and enter, I don't see Ryan. His wife, Kristen, is here, and his parents. There's a man I don't know wrapped in a blanket on the couch. His face and body are swollen. I realize the stranger is our friend. He's always been instantly recognizable, known for his athletic frame, ginger hair, and quick smile. The drugs fighting his brain cancer have so bloated Ryan that I don't recognize our friend in his home on his birthday. The living room feels too small. I wonder if Ryan told his family that we'd asked if we could come by, that he'd approved this visit. Ashamed to interrupt a private family moment, a birthday they don't know if they'll get another of, I'm determined to get us out as fast as possible. As fast as possible. But Joel and Ryan have started talking fishing. Ryan wants to know all about our season. Joel tells him what a strange summer it's been, the crazy warm water blob pushed up into southeast. He tells Ryan about the rumor going around the dock that someone caught tuna in Alaska. Originally from California, Ryan lights up. More questions. Joel says he's been thinking about trying to catch one. Ryan leans forward and rests a hand on Joel's shoulder. "Joel, if you catch a tuna, will you please bring me one?" Joel has never caught a tuna anywhere. Not in the West Coast waters they more commonly frequent, and definitely not in the Gulf of Alaska. He doesn't know anything about catching tuna. But meeting Ryan's earnest gaze, pre-cancer light returning to our friend's eyes, what do? My sweetheart, without a moment's hesitation, promises our terminally ill friend that we will bring him a tuna. Roll back to the previous summer when Ryan and Kristen got married. In Totem Park, Ryan had a headache. The next day, he still had a headache. The third day, then he went to the hospital. 3 days after marrying the love of his life, this man, seemingly burstingly with infinite life, was diagnosed with brain cancer. If you have spent any time in Sitka, you know it's tough to find a community with a higher per capita ratio of truly special people. Ryan was among the best of the bunch. Pure light amid Tongass gray. We met him in the backdoor cafe, the way countless others did too, befriended by his open spirit and kind heart. Coastal communities can so often be closed, measuring who counts, who belongs by how long they've been there. Ryan welcomed everyone. Our summer goes on. We make another king trip, another coho trip, and suddenly it is early September, the end of the season in sight. Joel's promise sits heavy on our shoulders. We have not caught a tuna. On the morning of September 8th, we untie to go unload our recent coho trip. As we slip out the breakwater, Joel's phone rings. The dock manager says the barge that was supposed to come in yesterday is late, arriving today instead. They won't be able to unload us until tomorrow. Joel reaches for the wheel to turn us back, then pauses. It's a glorious bluebird morning, sunny, no wind. He looks at me. Screw it. Let's go catch Ryan's tuna today. Why not? Joel, in the weeks since making his promise, Joel did some research. He got the permits allowing us to catch tuna. Our partner Jonathan, who actually had done some tuna fishing, drew a diagram on how to lay out the many lines streaming off the stern. Another friend and tuna highliner told Joel what gear to order. One phone call later, a hefty box shipped from Oregon to Sitka. Never mind that we didn't actually have any idea of what to do with the contents or how to put it all together. Joel said, we'll figure that out when we get there. Today's the day. We have gotten there, although where is there exactly? Studying the chart, Joel marks a random destination straight out Sitka Sound along the 1,000-fathom edge. We start running for the mark, 30 miles offshore. 30 miles doesn't sound like much by land, but by the Nurka's top running speed of 7 knots, we'll be traveling the next 5 hours. 5 hours. Plenty of time to learn how to put tuna gear together. Both Joel and I were raised on salmon trawlers, spoons and flashers and hoochies, essential ingredients of our work. Unpacking the tuna box, we stare. Jigs, divers, birds, some doohickey called a rabbit. The language is as foreign as the gear itself. Referring to Jonathan's diagram, Joel does figure it all out. As a troller, he lives for this shit. Determining what will be fishy, the thrill of thinking like a salmon. He rises to this new challenge, and soon 11 long lines stream from the stern. Each line off the stern connects to a tagline attached to the Nurka's trolling poles at staggered lengths to avoid tangling with one another. Each tagline connects to a tattletale line running to springs mounted along the bow. The lines and springs hang slack until a fish bites, then go taut with the weight. In the pilot seat, Joel's head swivels between the port and starboard windows, watching the springs. He can watch the springs all day. Not me. I stretch out in the day bunk with a book, a sunbeam, and the boat cat. Look! Joel's shout startles us up. We got one! He runs to the pit to grab the haul-in line that's gone tight. Seeing the beautiful September coho on the hook, we laugh. Landing the 8-pound salmon, Joel shrugs good-naturedly. At least we didn't get skunked. We can make a joke out of this. We can give it to Ryan and tell him it's his coho tuna. This'll work. It's 1 o'clock when we finally reach the mark on the chart. Charging along the 1,000-fathom edge, it's a great day on the water, and that day is fast slipping by. I make mental calculations. To unload tomorrow morning, we need to be back in Sitka tonight. Another 5 hours to get back. I settle back into the day bunk. I'm going to give this one more chapter before nudging Joel that it's time to pack it in. Joel is doing his own mental calculations. Over the past few hours, he has transitioned from child's exuberance, this is going to be so great, I've always wanted to catch a tuna, this is going to be awesome, to acknowledging what a big ocean this is, and what an empty ocean it seems to be. There are no birds, no landmarks. There's just an aimless drive through deep, deep water. He starts to despair. Oh my God, we just burned so much fuel running out here for nothing. You are a moron. You don't know how to catch tuna. You probably didn't even put the gear together right. There's no tuna out here. What are you even doing? Joel issues a silent plea. Man, come on. Not for me, for Ryan. He glances out the port window. That's odd. A spring stretches taut. Must have caught some kelp. Not bothering to grab his gloves, he trudges out to the pit. One of the port lines is high out of the water. The haul-in line is heavy enough that he slows the throttle a few knots, yarding it hand over hand to the boat. He looks down to a fish like none we've ever seen before. Giant, blue-backed, shiny-sided, magnificent. Joel lets out a disbelieving whoop. It's a fucking tuna! Joel gaffs the tuna and heaves it on board with a grunt. Both he and the tuna go apeshit. Joel is jumping up and down, the tuna hammering the checker. Edging in with a knife, Joel slices its throat, and for the first time in the Nurka's 36 years, her deck runs red with tuna blood. Oh my God, we did it. We caught a tuna in Alaska. Joel is beside himself. Tearing his gaze away from this wondrous creature, he turns back to the stern, and before his eyes, one by one, every line goes tight. Total mayhem. Joel and I both lose our minds. We were just cruising around on a lark. We didn't actually think anything was going to come of this. Now, realizing we are officially in them, a for real, legit, hot albacore bite, we scramble into rain pants and shove hands into gloves. We have no idea how to be efficient tuna harvesters. No hydraulic pullers. We are purely hand-powered, fumbling for the haul-in lines. And I'm caught off guard by the weight and fight of torpedo-shaped bodies diving and yanking against me. Tuna spill over the checkers. Long fins flutter like hummingbird wings, an arrhythmic tempo, loud enough to rival the drone of the engine. They fling blood everywhere, to the back of the cabin, the hay rack above, our faces and bare arms. Because we don't know anything about tuna, we don't know that these particular tuna are uncommonly large, averaging 20 pounds. The inevitable happens. The fisherman in Joel takes over. Holy shit, we just hit the mother lode. We're gonna fill the rest of the boat with these hogs. He rattles off a plan to go into production mode. We'll set up totes on deck with hoses to bleed them out faster, more efficient. We'll tarp the coho in the hold and pack the tuna in the center. Tuna to the fish hold combing. And just like that, the moment greed filters in, they vanish. It's still a glorious afternoon, ocean still tuna water blue, and for all we know, suddenly and completely devoid of tuna. Other than the gory scenes splattered across the deck, it's as if we'd never found them at all. We point for town and start the 5-hour run back with 1 coho tuna and 40 actual for real albacore tuna. We stare at each other. What just happened? Joel says what we're both thinking. These aren't our tuna. This was something bigger than us. There isn't a price tag you can put on these tuna. I make a list, 1 through 40. We write the names of all the people we can think of who could use a gift tuna. Ryan is the first on the list. We don't get to deliver Ryan's tuna to him. When we get back to town, he's not well enough to receive guests or make the trip to the harbor. One of his caregivers comes down to the boat. filling a dock cart with 2 of the biggest fish ingloriously stuffed in black garbage bags. The packaging doesn't matter. His caregivers later report these tuna were all Ryan talked about to anyone who would listen for weeks. This does end up being Ryan's last birthday. Just over 2 months later, on November 22nd, Ryan passes. He's 38. Looking back on the summer of 2015, we know the science contributing to albacore appearing in the Gulf of Alaska. We know they're a highly migratory species naturally following warm water edges. We know about the impacts of water temperature fluctuations and climate change. We know the blob, an enormous swath of warm water, moved into the North Pacific in 2013 and stayed through 2015. We know unusual marine sightings occurred with these conditions. We know these things to be real and true. Something else we know to be real and true. There once lived a human whose light glowed so bright, so powerful a presence, that in Joel's moment of despair, the universe heard his plea and intervened to fulfill a birthday promise, bringing tuna to the Nurka in the Gulf of Alaska for Ryan Kaufman. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Tele. Hello. All right, we are going to take a 15-minute intermission, and we will be back here promptly at 8 p.m. Just one announcement, and I believe this is open to everyone. At the Liberty Theater at 10 p.m. is the umpteenth annual on-site poetry contest. No more than 30 seconds long. Include the words full moon, not necessarily the one in the sky. First and last lines are the same but different. Include 3 Bodie prepositions, which is essentially what it says here, a locator word. Examples: abeam, astern, aboard, aft, to the starboard, to the port. All right, you're dismissed for 15 minutes. Be back here ready to go promptly at 8 p.m.
White Maine spruce, grain so even, you can almost hear the music now. Sidewood bent in the water steaming, and the easy slide of a dovetail saw. I learned these skills, but no one taught me. I make guitars that others play. Too much rain and darn long winters, but I love the work of a luthier's trade.
Thanks for talking to us today. Can you tell me your name and where you're from?
My name is Ken Kastner, and I'm from Homer, Alaska.
Whoa, Homer, did you come all the way from Homer for this event?
I did.
I'm speechless. So let me think real quick here. Please tell me your story and what motivated you to come down here and what you're doing in the FisherPoets Gathering.
Well, my sweetie of 51 years is one of the presenters here, and this is her 4th Fisher Poets. So normally I would not be attending, but this year I said, okay, I'm coming. And so I had meetings in Juneau, and we came from Juneau to here, and I'm flying back tomorrow. But it's been fun so far.
Well, what was your favorite? Okay, you do have a favorite, so unbiased. What was your other favorite thing so far?
Well, I was at the Liberty Theater all last night, and there were some really wonderful things, and I don't even remember the cowboy Fisher poet. He came out with a costume that was split in half. He had a hip boot on one leg and a cowboy boot on the other leg, and he had made a garment that was a half a fishing jacket and half a cowboy vest, and he called himself a transfishmite. So No, he's quite funny and a great poet. And he's known for cowboy poetry, but he's been coming here for years and years, and he's just part of the crowd now. So that was fun.
What else can we tell folks that will entice them to come and maybe give them any tips of good ways to enjoy themselves?
Well, it's an event that incites some creativity in everybody. So I've written a couple of poems. One of them got read last night, and then I'm going to compete tonight in the competition, the 30-second competition, where you have to include the word full moon, and it has to be 30 seconds, and you have to have 5 Bodhi prepositions. So anyway, I've got that composed, but I'm in the first line and the last line has to be the same except different.
Well, we think we're going to try and be there tonight to witness that. So we'll look forward to seeing you again. And thanks for stopping to talk with us.
Sure. What's this for?
Oh, did I not start with that? So we're working on a FisherPoets Gathering archive. And it's headlined, it's our buddy's pet project. And he gets the equipment, and we come out and we record a lot of the performances, as many as we can get to.
Yeah.
We set up in 2 or 3 venues. We record the performances, and then we do these little on-street interviews. And then he does a whole bunch of editing and tries to upload them and get them all uploaded to Facebook.
Where were you last night?
We were at Astoria Brewing Company. He was live streaming at Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Okay. Well, good. Good luck with your project.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for stopping and helping us out.
Sure.
Appreciate it.